Welcome everyone, and welcome everyone on Zoom. Tonight we have a very special performance by Séamus Maynard, and it's the sort of introduction to this week-long workshop that we hope as many of you can come to. And it's a workshop on inner development as aided by the legends of King Arthur and Percival. These legends have spiritual mysteries in them that contain symbolism that can help us grow and evolve. So tonight we're going to see a sort of chapter written by Alfred Lord Tennyson. He's a Victorian author and poet, and he wrote The Passing of Arthur. And I encourage you all to just be present with the quality of speech and drama that we're going to experience, because it's going to be very vivid, and to really enter into the craft is an opportunity we have tonight. So I just want to say thank you to the branch, the Rudolph Center branch, and the people who have helped bring this event on: Mary Spalding, Mihai, Andre, and Paulette. And
Jen.
And who? And Jen, yes.
And who are you?
And I'm Lucien. I actually had the idea to bring Séamus here, so I'm really excited to see it happen in real life. So please enjoy.
The Passing of Arthur. That story, which the bold Sir Bedivere first met, and latest left of all the knights, told when the man was no more than a voice in the white winter of his age. To those with whom he dwelt, new faces, other minds. For on their march to westward, Bedivere, who slowly paced among the slumbering hosts, heard from his tent the moanings of the king. I found him in the shining of the stars. I marked him in the flowering of his fields. But in his ways with people I find him not. I waged his wars, and now I pass and die. Oh me, for why is all around us here as if some lesser God had made the world, but had not power to shape it as he would, till the high God behold it from beyond and enter it and make it beautiful? Or else as if the world were wholly fair, but that these eyes of people are dense and dim and have not power to see it as it is, perchance because we see not to the close. For I, being simple, thought to work his will, and have but stricken with the sword in vain, and all whereon I leaned in wife and friend is traitor to my peace, and all my realm reels back into the beast, and is no more. My God, thou hast forgot me in my death. Nay, God, I pass, but shall not die. Then, ere that last weird battle in the west, there came on Arthur sleeping, Gawain, killed in Lancelot's wars, the ghost of Gawain, blown along a wandering wind, and past his ear went shrilling, "Hallo, hallo, delight! Hail, King! Tomorrow thou shalt pass away. There is an isle of rest for thee, and I am blown along a wandering wind, and hollow, 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 all delight." And fainter onward, like wild birds that change their season in the night and wail their way from cloud to cloud, down the long wind, the dream shrilled, but in going, mingled with dim cries, far in the moonlit haze among the hills, as of some lonely city sacked by night, when all is lost, and wife and child with wail past the new lords. And Arthur woke and called, "Who spake?" A dream. Oh, light upon the wind, thine, Gawain, was the voice. Are these dim cries thine? Or doth all that haunts the waste and wild mourn, knowing it will go along with me? This o'erheard the bold Sir Bedivere, and spake, "Oh, me, my king, let pass whatever will, elves and harmless glamour of the field, but in their stead thy name and glory cling to all high places like a golden cloud forever. But as yet thou shalt not pass. Light was Gawain in life, and light in death is Gawain, for the ghost is as the man. And care not thou for dreams of him, but rise. I hear the steps of Mordred in the west, and with him many of thy people and knights, once thine, but grosser grown than heathen, spitting at their vows and thee. Right well in heart they know thee for the king. Arise, go forth, and conquer as of old." And spake King Arthur to Sir Bedivere, "Far other is this battle in the west, whereto we move, than when we strove in youth and brake the petty kings and fought with Rome, or thrust the heathen from the Roman wall and shook him through the north. Ill doom is mine to war against my people. The king who fights his people fights himself. And they, my knights, who loved me once, the stroke that strikes them dead is as my death to me. Yet, let us hence and find or feel our way through this blind haze, which ever since I saw one lying in the dust at Almesbury, hath folded in the passes of the world. Then rose the king, and moved his host by night, and ever pushed Sir Mordred league by league back to the sunset bound of Lyonesse, a land of old, upheaven from the abyss by fire to sink into the abyss again, where fragments of forgotten peoples dwelt, and the long mountains ended in a coast of ever-shifting sand. There, the pursuer could pursue no more, and he that fled the king no further flew. And there, on that day, when the great light of heaven burned at its lowest in the rolling year, on the waste sand, by the waste sea, they closed. Nor ever yet had Arthur fought a fight like this last dim, weird battle in the west. A death-white mist slept over sand and sea, whereof the chill to him who breathed it drew down with his blood, till all his heart was cold with formless fear. And even on Arthur fell confusion, since he saw not whom he fought. For friend and foe were shadows in the mist, and friend slew friend, not knowing whom they slew. And in the mist was many a noble deed, and many a base, with chance and craft and strength in single fights, and ever and anon with host to host, shocks and the splintering spear, the hard mail hewn, shield breakings, and the clash of brands, the crash of battle axes on shattered helms, and the shrieks up to heaven as those who falling down looked up and saw only the mist, and shouts of heathen and the traitor knights, oaths, insult, filth, and monstrous blasphemies, sweat, writhings, anguish, laboring of the lungs in that close mist, and cryings for the light, moans of the dying, and voices of the dead. Last, as by someone's deathbed, after wail of suffering, silence follows, or through death or death-like swoon. Thus, over all that shore, save for some whisper of the seething seas, a dead hush fell. But when the dolorous day grew drearier toward twilight falling, came there a bitter wind, clear from the north, and blew the mist aside. And with that wind the tide rose, and the pale king glanced across the field of battle. But no soul was moving there, nor any cry of Christian heard thereon, nor yet of heathen. Only the wan wave break in among dead faces, to and fro, swaying the helpless hands, and up and down, tumbling the hollowed helmets and shivered brands that once had fought with Rome. And rolling far along the gloomy shores, the voice of days of old and days to be. Then spake King Arthur to Sir Bedivere, and whiter than the mist that all day long had held the field of battle was the king. Hearest thou this great voice that shakes the narrow realm whereon we move, and beats upon the faces of the dead, my dead, as though they had not died for me? O Bedivere, for on my heart hath fallen confusion, till I know not what I am, nor whence I am, nor whether I be king. Behold, I seem but king among the dead. Then spake the bold Sir Bedivere, my king, king everywhere, and so the dead have kings. There also will I worship thee as king. Yet still thy life is whole, and still I live who love thee. But who hates thee? He that brought the heathen back among us, yonder stands, Mordred, unharmed, the traitor of thine house. Then spake the king, my house hath been my doom. But call not thou this traitor of my house, who hath but dwelt beneath one roof with me. My house, or rather they who swear my vows, yea, even while they break them, owned me king. And well for thee for saying in my dark hour, when all the purport of my throne hath failed, that quick or dead thou holdest me for king. King am I, whatsoever be their cry, and one last act of kinghood wilt thou see, yet ere I pass. And uttering this, the king made at the man. Then Mordred smote his liege hard upon the helm, which many a beaten sword had beaten thin, while Arthur, striking his last stroke with Excalibur, slew him. And all but slain himself, he fell. So all day long, the noise of the battle rolled among the mountains by the winter sea, until King Arthur's table, night by night, had fallen in lioness about their lord, King Arthur. Then, because his wound was deep, the bold Sir Bedivere uplifted him and bore him to a chapel nigh the field, a broken chancel with a broken cross that stood in a dark strait of barren land. On one side lay the ocean, and on the other lay a great water, and the moon was full. Then spake King Arthur to Sir Bedivere, the sequel of today, on soldiers all the goodliest fellowship of famous knights, whereon this world holds record. Such a sleep they sleep, the men I love. I think that we shall never more at any future time delight our souls with talk of knightly deeds, walking about the gardens and the halls of Camelot, as in the days that were. I perish by this people which I made, though Merlin swear that I should come again to rule once more. But let what will be, be. I am so deeply smitten through the helm, that without help I cannot last till morn. Thou, therefore, take my brand, Excalibur, which was my pride. For thou rememberest how, in those old days, one summer noon, an arm rose up from out the bosom of the lake, clothed in white samite, mystic, wonderful. And now I rode across and took it, and have worn it like a king. And wheresoever I am sung or told in aftertime, this also shall be known. But now, delay not. Take Excalibur and fling it far into the middle mere. Watch what thou seest, and lightly bring me word. To him replied the bold Sir Bedivere, it is not meet, Sir King, to leave thee thus, aidless, alone, and smitten through the helm. A little thing can harm a wounded knight. Yet, I thy hest will all perform at full. Watch what I see, and lightly bring thee word. So saying, from the ruined shrine he stepped, and in the moon, athwart the place of tomb, tombs, where lay the mighty bones of ancient warriors, old knights, and over them the sea wind sang, shrill, chill, with flakes of foam. He, stepping down by zigzag paths in juts of pointed rock, came on the shining levels of the lake. There drew he forth the brand Excalibur, and o'er him drawing it, the winter moon, brightening the skirts of a long cloud, ran forth and sparkled keen with frost against the hilt. For all that haft twinkled with diamond sparks, myriads of topaz lights, and jacinth work of subtlest jewelry. He gazed so long that both his eyes were dazzled as he stood, this way and that, dividing the swift mind in act to throw. But at last, it seemed better to leave Excalibur concealed there in the many knotted water flags that whistled stiff and dry about the marge. So strode he back slow to the wounded king. Then spake King Arthur to Sir Bedivere, "Hast thou performed my mission which I gave? What is it thou hast seen, or what hast heard?" And answer made the bold Sir Bedivere, "I heard the ripple washing in the reeds, and the wild water lapping on the crag." To whom replied King Arthur, faint and pale, "Thou hast betrayed thy nature and thy name, not rendering true answer as beseemed thy fealty, nor like a noble knight. For sure a sign had followed, either hand or voice, or else some motion of the mirror. This is a shameful thing for a knight to lie. Yet now I charge thee quickly go again, as thou art lief and dear, and do the thing I bade thee. Watch, and lightly bring me word." So went Sir Bedivere a second time across the ridge, and paced beside the mere, counting the dewy pebbles, fixed in thought. But when he saw the wonder of the hilt, how curiously and strangely chased, he cried aloud, "And if indeed I cast the brand away, surely a precious thing, one worthy note would thus be lost forever from the earth, which might have pleased the eyes of many people. What good should come from this if this were done? What harm undone? Deep harm, seeing obedience is the bond of rule. Were it well to obey, then, if a king demand an act unprofitable against himself? The king is sick and knows not what he does. What record, what relic of my lord would be to aftertime but empty breath and rumors of a doubt? But were this kept, stored in some treasure house of mighty kings, someone might show it at a joust of arms, saying, 'King Arthur's sword, Excalibur, wrought by the lonely maiden of the lake. 9 years she wrought it, sitting in the deeps upon the hidden bases of the hills.' So might some old man speak in the aftertime to all the people, winning reverence. But now much honor and much fame were lost. So said he, clouded by his own conceit, and hid Excalibur a second time, and so strode back slowly to the wounded king. And spake King Arthur, breathing heavily, "What is it thou hast seen, or what hast heard?" And answer made the bold Sir Bedivere, "I heard the water lapping on the crag, and the long ripple washing in the reeds." To whom replied King Arthur, much in wrath, "Ah, miserable and unkind, untrue, unknightly, traitor-hearted. Woe is me! Authority forgets a dying king, laid widowed of the power in his eye that bowed the will. I see thee what thou art, for thou, the latest left of all my knights, in whom should meet the offices of all, thou wouldst betray me for the precious hint, either from lust of gold, or like a thief valuing the giddy pleasures of the eyes. Yet for a knight may fail in duty twice, and the third time may prosper. Get thee hence! But if thou spare to fling Excalibur, I will arise and slay thee with my hands." Then quickly rose the bold Sir Bedivere and ran, and leaping down the ridges, lightly plunged among the bulrush beds, and clutched the sword, and strongly wielded, and threw it. The great brand made lightnings in the splendor of the moon, and flashing round and round, and whirled in an arch, shot like a streamer of the northern morn, seen where the moving isles of winter shot by night with noises of the northern sea. So flashed and fell the brand Excalibur. But ere it dipped the surface, rose an arm, clothed in white samite, mystic, wonderful, that caught it by the hilt and brandished it 3 times and drew it under in the mere. And lightly went the other to the king. Then spake King Arthur, drawing thicker breath, "Now see I by thine eyes that this is done. Speak out, what is it thou hast seen, or what hast heard?" And answer made the bold Sir Bedivere, "Sir King, I closed mine eyelids, lest the gems should blind my purpose. For I never saw, nor shall see, here or elsewhere till I die, not though I live 3 lives of mortal men, so great a miracle as yonder hilt." Then with both hands I flung it, wheeling it. But when I looked again, behold, an arm clothed in white samite, mystic, wonderful, that caught it by the hilt and brandished it 3 times and drew it under in the mere. And answer made King Arthur, breathing hard, my end draws nigh. 'Tis time that I were gone. Make broad thy shoulders to receive my weight, and bear me to the margin. Yet I fear my wound hath taken cold, and I shall die. So saying, from the pavement he half rose, slowly, pain reclining on one arm, and looking wistfully with wide blue eyes, as in a picture. Him Sir Bedivere remorsefully regarded through his tears, and he would have spoken, but he found not words. Then took with care, and kneeling on one knee, o'er both his shoulders drew the languid hands, and rising, bore him through the place of tombs. But as he walked, King Arthur panted hard, like one that hears a nightmare in his bed when all the house is mute. So sighed the king, muttering and murmuring at his ear, "Quick, quick, I fear it is too late, and I shall die." But the other swiftly strode from ridge to ridge, clothed in his breath, and looking as he walked, larger than human, on the frozen hills. He heard the deep behind, and a cry before. His own thought drove him like a goad. Dry clashed his harness in the icy caves and barren chasms, and all to left and right the bare black cliff clanged round him as he based his feet on juts of slippery crag that rang sharp-smitten with the dint of armored heels. And on a sudden, lo, the level lake and the long glories of the winter noon. Then saw they how there hove a dusky barge, dark as a funeral scarf from stem to stern beneath them. And descending, they were aware that all the decks were dense with stately forms, black-stoled, black-hooded, like a dream, by these three queens with crowns of gold. And from them rose a cry that shivered to the tingling stars, as though they were one voice, an agony of lamentation that shrills all night in a wasteland where no one comes or hath come since the making of the world. Then murmured Arthur, "Place me in the barge." So to the barge they came. There those three queens put forth their hands and took the king and wept. But she that rose the tallest of them all and fairest laid his head upon her lap and loosed the shattered casks and chafed his hands and called him by his name, complaining loud and dropping bitter tears against a brow striped with dark blood. For all his face was pale and colorless and like a withered moon smote by the fresh beam of the springing east, and all his griefs and causes were dashed with drops of onset, and the light and lustrous curls that surrounded his head were parched with dust or clotted into points, mixed with the kingly growth that fringed his lips. So, like a shattered column, lay the king, not like that Arthur, who with lance in rest, from spur to plume, the star of tournament, shot through the lists at Camelot and charged before the eyes of kings and of queens. Then loudly cried the bold Sir Bedivere, "Ah, my lord, Arthur, whither shall I go? Where shall I hide my forehead and my eyes? For now I see the true old times are dead, when every morning brought a noble chance, and every chance brought out a noble night. Such times had been not since the light that led the holy elders with the gift of myrrh. But now the whole round table is dissolved, which was an image of the mighty world, and I, the last, go forth companionless, and the years darken round me, and the days among new people, strange faces, other minds. And slowly answered Arthur from the barge, the old order changeth, yielding place to a new. And God fulfills himself in many ways, lest one good custom should corrupt the world. Comfort yourself. What comfort is in me? I have lived my life, and that which I have done, may it be made pure. But thou, if thou shouldst never see my face again, pray for me and my soul. More things are wrought by prayer than this world dreams of. Wherefore, let thy voice rise like a fountain for me day and night. For what are people better than sheep or goats that nourish a blind life within the brain, if knowing the Spirit they lift not their hands of prayer, both for themselves and for those who call them friend? For so the whole round earth is every way bound by gold chains about the feet of God. But now, farewell. I am going a long way with these thou seest, to the island valley of Avilion, where falls not hail, nor rain, nor snow, nor ever wind blows loudly, but it lies deep meadowed, happy, fair, with orchard lawns and bowery halls, crowned with summer sea, where I will heal me of my grievous wound. So said he, and the barge with oar and sail moved from the brink, like some full-breasted swan that, fluting a wild carol ere her death, ruffles her pure cold plume and takes the flood with swarthy webs. Long stood Sir Bedivere, revolving many memories, till the hull looked one black dot against the verge of dawn, and on the mere the wailing died away. But when that moan had passed forevermore, the stillness of the dead world's winter dawn amazed him, and he groaned, "The king is gone." And therewithal there came on him the weird rhyme, from the great deep to the great deep he goes, whereat he slowly turned, and slowly clomb the last hard footstep of that iron crag, thence marked the hull moving yet, and cried, "He passes to be king among the dead, and after healing of his grievous wound, he comes again. But if he come no more, be yon dark queens in yon boat friends of Arthur, who should help him at his need." Then, from the dawn, it seemed there came but faint, like the last echo born of a great cry, sounds as if some fair city were one voice around a king returning from his wars. Whereat once more he moved about, and clomb even to the highest he could climb, and saw, straining his eye beneath an arch of hand, or thought he saw, the speck that bare the king down that long water somewhere far off, opening on the deep, passing on and on, and going from less to less until it vanished into light. And the new sun rose. Bringing the new year.
Thank you for coming. I didn't mention in the beginning that Séamus is going to be here with remote Lisa Romero for the whole of the conference, and they're going to be sort of ping-ponging back and forth with workshop through speech and drama and lecturing by Lisa Romero on inner development and the mysteries of the Arthurian and Parsifal legends. So please come and
When?
Yes, this whole weekend. Tomorrow it will be from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, and on Sunday it will be
In person only.
in person only. Yeah.
Gotta be in Chicago.
Thank you so much, Séamus. And enjoy the food. Yeah.
I'll start. I don't remember my history. Well, tell us about Mordred and what came before. Was there?
Yeah, I mean,
Speak louder, Maureen.
So the question.
Just about Mordred and what had come before this point.
There's different tellings, you know, that's the interesting thing about these legends, is they're these kind of living pictures of, and again, Lisa will be speaking about this tomorrow, and tomorrow we have us to talk about the specifics of the different sort of